Legends Arceus did something with its regional variants that neither Alola nor Galar even dared to do, and that's give us at least one regional variant of every type. Well, except the fairy type, but Enamorus was there, so I'll let it slide. Some types had more regional variants than others, yes, but hey, it also gave us our first ever water type regional variants. And now that we have regional variants of every type, begs the question, what are the best regional variants of each Pokemon type? Now, best sounds like an objective term, but that's really only possible when it comes down to the battling aspect of Pokemon. But when you factor in lore, designs, popularity, and all these other aspects, really, the term best becomes very subjective. However, as I break down my reasoning for each member on this list, I think you'll see that each entry truly does keep the integrity of the original Pokemon while improving upon the original, all for different reasons that we'll get into shortly. I am counting regional evolutions as a part of this video, as those are evolutions that we can only get in said region, and they all evolve from regional variants as it is, so I think it's fair to include them. And finally, I'm going to be doing my best to keep my personal feelings aside and looking at all of them as fairly as possible, to judge which regional variants are the top of the ranks of every type. Being the most basic out of all the typings, you would think that the normal typing couldn't pull in anything too crazy onto the table. But when you make Univa's version of Lucario a normal and ghost type, suddenly the normal typing ain't looking too basic anymore. Hisuian Zoroark in my eyes is kinda like the poster child for Hisuian forms. It's the only one that comes in with a unique type combination, and the one that I think everyone unanimously agrees is a great Pokemon design. And with that added ghost type lore, it's one for the books. Now honestly, you could say that Zoroark kinda wins by default here. The Zigzagoon and the Rattata families are the only other normal regional variants, and they already started out as normal types to begin with, so seeing them as normal again isn't anything too crazy. But Zoroark, man did this thing steal the show. But I'm pretty sure the dual type combo with Ghost is the only thing that's saving it, cause let's be honest, if it was normal in any other type, you would have seen someone or another throw a fit on the internet. Poison is one typing that I never really cared for in the early days. All you got were weird Pokemon like Coughing and Grimer. Like, what are you supposed to do with these things? And even when they evolve, it's not like they evolve into anything too crazy. Their regional evolutions though, man, that's where things get interesting. Psychedelic Muck gets all crazy with the colors, but your environmentally friendly clean top hat boy Weezing? Oh, now that is an S tier original form. Now don't get me wrong, Glare and Weezing probably wouldn't even come close to be my top 5 poison types or anything like that. But I cannot deny how genius of a regional form this is. It's got like 5 different elements that all work together as one. It looks like a floating factory with those chimney-like top hats, which are also reminiscent of the old British top hats to mimic the British men from back in the day. And in doing so, it also wears facial smog in the more of a beard and mustache, making it look a bit more like a leprechaun, which is where the fairy typing would come from. Bulbapedia also says that has something to do with perfume, but I don't really get that part. But regardless, it's also eco-friendly and cleans the air and restores all the damage that it did as a Coughing, and then some. A criminally underrated regional variant, but one that I think will stay among the top ranks of them in my books for a while. Goodra is one of my all-time favorite Dragon-type Pokemon. A Pokemon that's so happy, and one that breaks the mold of the scary, menacing, intimidating Dragon-type theme that was going on for so long. Yeah, Altaria is there, but as a pure Dragon-type, I feel that Goodra just broke that mold better. And look at it, it's so happy. And it's for that reason that I'm giving this spot to Alolan Exeggutor. Listen, Sliggoo, Goodra, and Exeggutor are surprisingly all the Dragon type is working with here, and among the two families, the Goodra line looks like the exact same. It just gets a shell in the Steel typing to bring in the Sluglord attributes. But poor Goodra, man, it's being held back. It's depressed. It just wants to walk around, but it can't. How can I give the spot to Hisuian Goodra? I just can't. So naturally, it goes to Alolan Exeggutor. There's not much to say about this thing, because there's not much to say about it being a dragon type. There's just a lot of great memes, and it'll always be iconic, but I definitely think in terms of dragon type regional variants, Game Freak will bring out better ones in the future. Not only did Galar give us our first ever dragon type gym leader, but it also gave us the absolute best evolution to any regional rodent that we've ever received. Obstagoon truly is a legend amongst the rodents. This is what Alolan Raticate was aspiring to evolve into while it was in Alola, but it forgot its mission and decided to take a vacation in the region instead. Galarian Linoone, on the other hand, stayed true to its goals till the very end and came out with this incredible design. This evolution doesn't even feel forced. It doesn't feel unnatural from what the Galarian Zigzagoon line is. This evolution just fits in perfectly. Quad weak to fighting, so what? By the time you get to the Spike Month gym, you're just gonna be singing along with the Kiss All-Stars, Piers and Obstagoon anyways. Won't even remember that you went in there for a battle. Another S-tier design for the Galar region. Water is my all-time favorite type, and water starters are the ones I prefer the most often. So when I found out that Samurott was getting a new regional variant, I was amped. Super amped. I already love Samurott, but a regional variant of it? Oh man, I couldn't wait. And then the leaks came out, and we got it, and I'm not disappointed. I actually really like the design. It's not a water fighting type, which I still think regular Samurott should have had, but water, like, that's fine. But yeah, this is just a recolored Samurott with a beard and a mustache. It's good, I like it and all, but what's there to say about it? As a water or even a dark type Pokemon. I like Samurott as a Pokemon more than I do Basculegion, but I don't think there's any world where I say that Hisuian Samurott is a better regional form than Basculegion. Basculegion literally gave purpose and meaning to Basculin, a Pokemon that once nobody at all cared for and some didn't even remember, came out with this monstrous looking design and crazy lore. These ghost types, man. If you have a ghost type as a regional variant, you pretty much almost always win. I didn't even mention how clean it is to ride on Basculegion on the waters of Hisui, one of the 10 Pokemon that the hero of old used, and I'm sure he used it right, because everyone's gonna remember Basculin after this. This might be borderline S tier for me. Only the male one though. The female one, yeah, doesn't look too happy to be alive. Or, dead, I guess. Sorry, ladies. I get the feeling that this is gonna be controversial, but I like Hisuian Arcanine more than I do regular Arcanine. I don't know, I'm recording this well before I can see most people's opinions on this matter, but dang, if you told me they could take Arcanine and give it the rock type and still make it into clean design, I wouldn't have believed you until I saw Hisuian Arcanine myself. Now I will admit, it kinda gets destroyed by everything in battle. I've used it myself, and while it was fun, it was a bit tough. It was a bit tough for sure. But despite that, taking the Komainu and creating this majestic beast out of it was a fantastic move. I never really cared for Arcanine too much compared to the next guy. Heck, it's like in my brother's top 5 favorite Pokemon. I was always more of a Ninetales fan, but with Hisuian Arcanine, it's definitely at the very least in my top 5 favorite rock types. I'm a bit hesitant to slap on the S here, but just know it's an S tier in my heart. Best story out of all the nobles too, no questions asked. Steel, however, starts with an S, so you know whatever Pokemon in this category is gonna be an automatic S, especially if that Pokemon starts with an S like Sandshrew, cause god dang does this design slap. I know what you're thinking, Alolan Sandshrew and not Alolan Sandslash? Surely that must have been a slip of the tongue, right? Nope. Unlike most times, this time I didn't stutter. Sandshrew is a dang near perfect regional variant across the board. Yes, the ice typing is more prominent in design than the steel typing, seeing how its body is a freaking cute little igloo. Look at this little adorable thing, man. Oh my god, it's so cute. But it's also based off of curling stone, which is where the steel typing comes from. Even in its concept art, you see this thing just happily spinning around in the form of an igloo for the sake of sport. Admittedly, I've been a Sandshrew family fan since some of the early days, but compared to the rest of the Steel-type regional variants, the Sandshrew family has this in the bag. And while Sandslash is cool, the cute and genius factor behind Sandshrew is top-notch. Certified S-tier, top-tier design without any doubt. Now this is a tough one, because we only have 3 Pokemon for the electric type. Alolan Raichu, Hisuian Voltorb, and Hisuian Electrode. And Alolan Raichu just exists because of pancakes. And the Electrode line exists because they needed to find a way to make Pokeballs exist back in the day, so technically, lore-wise, my answer should be either Electrode or Voltorb, and if I had to pick between those two, I would go with Voltorb just because it's so freaking adorable. I absolutely love how cute and energetic and happy it is, but I also love how adorable Alolan Raichu is. And I love how fun it is to use Alolan Raichu in double battles with Tapu Koko. Oh, there's nothing but personal bias and affection clouding my judgment with this category. I really don't know. I think because of the time I spent, I would say Raichu, but I'm gonna fight my instincts and go with Voltorb just for you guys. A decision I made just now as I'm typing away with this script. Like it or not, Sword and Shield are some of my least favorite Pokemon games. However, the aesthetics of these games are some of the best, which I will always admit. And along with the aesthetics comes Pokemon design, which is why the Psychic, Fighting, and Flying categories are going to the trio of the Galarian birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. I grew up playing and watching Gen 1 and Gen 2. I grew up in a time where you had enough fingers and a nose to count how many legendaries there were, and still, aside from Articuno, the legendary birds never seemed like all that to me. But when the Crown Tundra was teased and we were getting our first ever legendary regional variants, I was blown away. I, just like most others, do wish they kept the Ice, Fire, and Electric typings respectively, but honestly, that's minor compared to the improvement made on all three of them. Unlike Alola, Galar took its designs of previous Pokemon and remodeled some of them completely. And in the case of the legendary birds, it was for the better. Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres can never go back to being their boring selves. They came in with the Crown Tundra because they all take the crown for these typings, and possibly even some of the best legendary designs overall. S tier across the board, baby! Across the board! Despite the Johto starters always getting sidelined, Typhlosion has stood the test of time and often been seen as a top tier fire type Pokemon. But I'm sorry to say that's probably not going to be the case with Hisuian Typhlosion. It's not bad, yeah, but I definitely prefer regular Typhlosion. I knew it was going to be a ghost type going into this game, so I was expecting something a bit more spookier. But we got something a little bit more Uzui-like instead, which is fine, but I think my brother put it best when he said, I think everyone was just expecting Typhlosion to be angry. And you know what? He was right. A bit more angry or sinister, and I think it would have done it for me, but something different isn't bad either. By the way, I mentioned my brother twice now, so go check out his YouTube channel, HybridHero, if you're into Danganronpa or Ace Attorney content. He's been stuck at 6k subscribers for a while now. A little push to 10k would be nice. Hisuian Typhlosion, while it still may be a good Pokemon, is probably, surprisingly, the worst out of all the Ghost-type regional variants. And if this is your worst, man, that's a pretty high bar to set. Oddly enough, however, our only other Fire-type regional variant family comes in as another Fire and Ghost-type, and a far superior one at that, and that's Alolan Marowak. Just like Samurott, I prefer both versions of Typhlosion to Alolan Marowak. However, Marowak wins this by a clear mile. The Ghost typing as a reference to the incident in Lavender Town, and then combining it with the Fire typing to make for a Hawaiian fire dancer, took a nice simple design with one of the most memorable Pokemon stories from back in the day and sprinkled a little bit of culture onto it, and still managed to keep it a simple design? Yeah, there's not much to say about this. It's just an easy S tier clap. Hisuian Zoroark may be the poster child of Hisui's regional forms, but Alolan Ninetales might just be the poster child for regional forms as a whole. Alolan Ninetales is a very safe and simple design choice. However, it is even more majestic and elegant than its Cantonian counterpart here, and it's just a beautiful Pokemon overall. As I said earlier, I have always been a huge fan of Ninetales. From reading the lore about its 1,000-year curse as a kid to using it in the games, it will always have a special place in my heart, and I just might prefer it a tad bit more to its Alolan counterpart. However, I cannot deny what Alolan Ninetales has brought to the table. One of the most majestic Pokemon in both the Ice and Fairy type categories, making it one of the most majestic Pokemon of all time. An S tier Pokemon even now, and the winner for the Fairy type on this list. Kleavor is undoubtedly the best Bug type regional variant that we received, And there's no debating this, because it's the only bug-type regional variant that we've received. I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Kleavor, probably my least favorite among the whole Scyther family, but I do know people who absolutely love it. It seems to be a very polarizing Pokemon. Not a bad one by any means. I'd still use it on my team, but I would prefer Scizor any day, to be honest. That being said though, for a first bug, yeah, solid. Let's see what else they can come up with in the future. In my eyes, Runerigus really should have been our first ever rock and ghost type, but it decided to go the Golurk route and be a ghost and ground type instead. And yet again, the ghost type remains supreme with its regional variants, cause my god is this fantastic. However, this is the one time where I think the ghost typing has to take the silver medal, because we got the bear with the moon in the house. Ursaluna just wins, absolutely wins. Not only is this our first ever bear Pokemon on all fours, but it's also an absolute beast. It's derpy in its expressions, it's fun, it's powerful, its evolution is an absolute pain to get. But the full moon even reflects on its design, and the clouds on its forehead covering the moon, oh my god, it's so good. I've always loved Ursaring as well, but Ursaluna takes it to a whole nother level. Dare I say, probably my favorite Hisuian form of them all. S tier and only an S tier for this one. I'll be honest, the grass types just don't do it for me in Hisui. All of the grass types we got besides Exeggutor have been from Hisui. Voltorb and Electrode are nice, but as grass types, I don't know how to feel about them. The Apricorn thing is there, which is cool, yeah, but I don't know, they just don't feel like grass types, you know what I mean? Univin Lilligant might just make it on my top 10 grass type Pokemon list. Hisuian Lilligant, however, it's not bad, I just prefer regular Lilligant. I did like seeing Hisuian Lilligant dance, and the boss fight had a lot of personality, but yeah, I'm just not sure how it sits with me. The same kind of applies for Decidueye. I like regular Decidueye more than I do Hisuian Decidueye. Probably another unpopular opinion, while it's cool they decided to make a grass type Pokemon another color than green, I'm also not a big fan of the reddish color that it has going on. I get that it's meant more so for the subtyping of fighting, but still it's a bit of a question mark for me. Clearly you can tell that I still need to digest the grass typings a bit more, especially since Lilligant and Decidueye are both grass and fighting. Similar to how Typhlosion and Marowak were both fire and ghost. But I think I'm gonna go with Decidueye for this one. I used Decidueye off camera for my playthrough, and it was really fun to use. And animated, it's probably the best of the three starters in its Hisuian form for me, so I think it's a fair choice. In my eyes, we already have the two best Ice-type regional variant families on this list, but we have still yet to give the Ice-type its top contender. Bear in mind, if this were just between the Ice-types alone, Ninetales or Sandshrew would have won for sure. However, since they've been designated to other spots, we have a few other contenders here. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I'm giving the award to Mr. Rhyme. I honestly forgot this thing even existed when thinking about the ice types for this list, but look, hear me out, right? Darmanitan is one of my favorite Pokemon from Unova, and Galarian Darmanitan is a Snowman Yeti, which is super cool. And Hisuian Avalugg is a rock and ice aircraft carrier, which, yeah, they're both dope. But Mr. Rhyme is an ice-type tap dancer. A mime tap dancer who's also based on the silent Mad Lad himself, Charlie Chaplin. A mime tap dancer and a silent actor all grouped into one with an ice and psychic type and a cane like this, and it's got clown-like elements in this design as well? I don't think it's being beat. I personally would prefer every other regional ice type than Mr. Rhyme. But my opinion doesn't really matter here now, does it? Galar does it once again by bringing English culture into the games and incorporating flawlessly into its Pokemon design. It's not necessarily a Pokemon that I like, but it's a design and concept that I can appreciate. Just like Basculegion, in my eyes, this is borderline S tier, but I'd say even a small step above Basculegion for that matter. By the way I'm hyping up the ghost typing, you'd really think I'm lying about the water typing being my favorite out of the 18. But really, every single ghost type regional variant has just hit the mark. lore, design, concept, everything. They've all just been so fun and unique. And honestly, I think any one of them could be here for the #1 spot. However, the one I'm going to be giving the gold medal to is going to be none other than the only pure ghost type regional form, and that's Galarian Corsola. Corsola was long forgotten, thrown away to the depths of time. Even Misty owning one in the anime couldn't help its case, which is why it went dead, and came back as a ghost type just for everyone to see how tragic it's really gotten. And you know what? We must all be into tragedy over comedy or something, cause everybody knew Corsola after this one. Everyone cared about Corsola after this. Everyone loved Corsola after this. And Corsola is just as tragic, yet cool. Arguably even cooler. However, Corsola and its lore of being lost to climate change is unfortunately a real thing, which is why it's here over Corsola. A grim reminder of what's happening to the planet right now. And while we should all take action to reverse the process, I'm happy Game Freak could make Corsola relevant again after all this time with its Galarian form. Thanks for watching, guys. I got a brand new Fakemon project in the works that you just saw a glimpse of, as well as a bunch more PLA content, so stay tuned. Take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on the next video, alright? Later.